Hi, it's me. This is not a good intro, but it is a good story. It's a wonderful time for a story, anyway. So let's do that. Let's read something from Reddit user A Sleepy Snake. I like your name. This is my ex's fake demon. I'm sorry, what? Okay, let's just get into it, I guess. Hey, Moonhorse.
Hey.
I've been watching your stuff for a little bit. Well, thank you. And I thought you and the rest of the Moon Cult would like to hear about one of my messed up exes who made up a demon. I mean, yes, actually. I'll eventually talk about the other one, but that one's a bit more hard to talk about, just from how weird it is. I mean, take your time, there's no rush on any of this. Now, before we get into this, and the eventual second one about my other ex, if I ever get around to writing that is, these events happened several years ago, as this was my first actual relationship, so some of the details are a little bit hazy. But this is true, at least how I remember it. Trigger warning for mentions of depression,
Oh no.
some NSFW stuff. Oh, and of course, demonic possession. I don't even know where this is going, and I'm already scared. The story starts with me joining a Minecraft roleplay server. Cringy, I know, but ultimately harmless. An internet friend, who I no longer really talk to, suggested it, and I thought it would be fun since the last one I was on was all but dead. So I met up with him. He introduced me to the decent-sized group of people he would RP with, which included one or two people from the old server, and both of my exes. For the first few months, things went pretty normally. I RP'd with the group, occasionally going back to the old server before it shut down, and becoming the group's dorky scientist character with a penchant for robotics, in spite of the server having a medieval theme. Over time, however, kind of got phased out of the group, and aside from a few people, I was pretty much left by myself. Two of the maybe 4 people that bothered to keep RPing with me were my exes. My first ex, the one we'll be talking about here, and I were the closest in the small group of people that I continued to talk to. Our characters grew closer together without the larger number of people, and in turn, we as individuals grew closer together. While we were friends, things went rather well. We had a lot of similar interests, lived in the same time zone, and they were overall a pretty cool person to hang around with, so we exchanged contact information, and soon we started dating. That was when the first red flag appeared. They told me that I had to wait for them to text me first. What? Citing their parents being strict and not liking their internet friends. Okay. I wrote this off since my parents also didn't really like my internet friends, despite that being the easiest way for me to make friends. Yes, I remember those days. So in spite of my separation anxiety, I would wait for them to text me every day with the same eagerness as a dog waiting for their owner to return from work. This was my first actual relationship, only having been on one awkward date with some random guy one of my high school friends set me up with that ultimately went nowhere, so I didn't exactly know any better. My ex had also mentioned how they didn't really RP with anyone else aside from me on there, though looking back, I'm pretty sure that was at least an exaggeration since I distinctly remember them RPing with other people. This is more of a nitpick than anything. The next flag was the
Oh no.
pact. I'm sorry, the fucking what? I was well into high school at this point, and just before a depression/anxiety/autism diagnosis, so my mental state was a mess to say the least. On top of this, because I wanted to be liked so badly, I took it upon myself to try and fix everyone else's problems with no regard for my own needs. Oh my god, I relate to that. And boy, did my ex have problems. They would regularly vent to me about their life and the shit they were going through, and I did similar since I thought that's what you did, until one day they suggested that if one of us were to end ourselves, the other should as well. No. Don't fucking do that. That is extra fucking horrible. Like a dumbass, I agreed, logicking out that it was a way to keep both of us from actually harming ourselves, and I failed to see how this was also incredibly toxic and very unhealthy. Yeah, we do a lot of stupid things when we're kids, don't we? Know that feeling. For a few weeks, we dated uneventfully, despite the toxic spiral of self-destruction rubbing off onto me the entire time, until one especially bad night. That night, like most nights, we're hanging out on a video call when they started talking about how they were seeing apparitions. Oh. They said they were all harmless and brushed them off as schizophrenia, all save for one. That one, they said, was a tall, scarred figure in a mask that was aggressive and able to interact with the real world. We went back and forth on what this thing was, and they came to the conclusion that it was some sort of demon. Now, normally, I'm a skeptic, and I still am, but somehow believed them with their proof, i.e. dimming the room lights, which I assumed had a dimmer switch, or dimming their computer brightness that was illuminating their face, speaking in a low, scratchy voice, and knocking a chair over in their room. Oh, God. It's... High school's a hell of a drug, kids. It started pretty tame, just the light dimming and the chair getting knocked over. Pretty soon, they started talking in the aforementioned scratchy voice and acting like they were being possessed. At one point, they claimed to be harming themselves and shoving salt into said wounds to harm the creature. Fucking what? Though this is up for debate, because I remember not hearing the container of salt, a baggie they claimed to be kind of loud, over a video call. This led to them pretending to be choked by said fake demon, and I had to masturbate in order to get the demon to stop. Well, doesn't that just say everything I need to know about this little creepy motherfucker? What a fucking asshole. Once that happens, and I'm thoroughly freaked out, they pretend the demon is having sex with them while they handled themselves just off camera. Oh my fucking God. Needless to say, I didn't sleep well that night. Yeah, I think I might join you in that one. This is some fucking extra shit. The next morning, I had class, and since I was up all night dealing with the demon situation, I didn't do my English homework, and of course, I got called on to stand up and share what I had written, which made me feel worse. After we all got the go-ahead to go sit down, I kind of fainted from the stress. From there, I was wheeled to the nurse's office, and when I came to, I spilled the beans, at which point my parents brought me to a mental hospital where I was brought in, and my school called my ex's school so they could call the police to check on them. I was in the mental hospital for about a month and a half. All the while, my parents dug through my phone and read through my messages with my ex and gave me hell for that. Ouch. When I was released, I got to talk to my ex maybe once or twice before they vanished. They were pretty miffed at me that I told someone about that whole situation, but what else was I supposed to do? I was scared and stressed out of my mind, so of course I said something. They seemed to understand that at least things were good up to the point that they ghosted me for a few days. This, of course, piqued my anxiety, and I started bugging them to try and get a response, which led to us arguing and then them leaving for about half a year, before resurfacing for a month, only to vanish once again. This time, for good. Now I'm in a much healthier relationship with partners who actually care about me, and I at least would like to think that I have the knowledge to be able to back out of another situation like this. And even to this day, years after the bullshit, I still have residual traumas that I'm trying to work through, but I hope this was at least entertaining to read. And at some point, I'll share my time with the other bad ex that I mentioned earlier. Thanks for reading. I mean, what do I even fucking say? This is... Man, this goes beyond just regular high school cringy nonsense and, like, straight into, like, this motherfucker's extra weird. I'm glad that you were able to get out of that situation with, you know, nothing really, really physically horrible happening. I mean, yes, this was fucking awful, but at least they weren't trying to convince you to do something, you know, self-harming, shall we say. Even though that did seem to be a part of this, because this guy's just a fucking asshole. But, yeah, I can only imagine how horrible it is to, like, have to deal with all this and then to have someone go through all your stuff like that. So I really can't even begin to understand the shit you went through, but, like, the parts that are sticking with me is not just his behavior, not just his fucking really crazy shit, this trying to manipulate you into doing something just sexual and, terrible in, like, possibly the strangest way I've ever heard. Like, really? Demonic possession? Come on, man. What the fuck? But I do have to say that I kind of don't like what you said with the parents who were giving you hell over the things that happened between the two of you. Like, you're a teenager. Of course you were doing whatever you thought was the right thing. But as a teenager, it should be pretty much accepted that you're going to make mistakes. God knows I did. Everybody has. Teenagers make mistakes. It's part of being a teenager. You fuck up, and that's how you learn. So, I really don't like that they gave you hell over a lot of that. I mean, yes, I'm sure a lot of it is also worry, like, just want to know what's going on. But again, put yourself in that same situation as a teenager. Would you have told your parents these things? Like, you always think you have this kind of stuff under control until you don't. And so that kind of stuck with me. And as for, this dude having anything under control, the answer is no, 100% the whole way around. He's fucking extra. That is... Man, early internet roleplay groups were a fucking thing. There's shit just happened all the time. I remember knowing, like, crazy edgy people like that who would hang out in these groups, and they were always had demons, and they were extra, edgy, and they weren't afraid of anyone, and it's like, yeah, I get it, Shadow, calm the fuck down. So, yeah, I'm extra sorry you got mixed up with somebody like that, because every time I've ever met someone like that, they either turn out to be, one, just some fucking kid who's pretending to be edgy, in order to seem cool because they still haven't developed the ability to use their own personality properly, so they just, Shadow the Hedgehog it. Or two, they actually are some level of crazy and are just like, this makes me unique. It's like, it doesn't. No, stop that. You need to fucking, get yourself help. Don't fucking, like, pretend like this is cool. It's not fucking cool, dude. Oh, boy. Either way, like I said, I'm glad you're out of that situation and on to much, much better things. This was a hell of a ride, so thank you so very much for sharing that with us, and thank you all for being here. If you enjoyed this story, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I have a Ko-Fi, and I have a merch store. I would really appreciate you guys checking those out, because right now, I am incapable of doing live streams. There's usually one every Saturday, but not right now. Kind of dealing with a lot of stuff when it comes to my internet. Hurricane really did a number down here, you guys. So, any support would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And if you can't, that's okay too. If you'd like to submit a story or something that you think would be interesting for anything on this channel, r/Moonhorse Stories is the first place I check. I also have a Discord server. It's in the description, like so much of the other links. All the stuff below this video, you can just go check it out. And, yeah, that's it. This was interesting, and thank you again for sending it in. I love you all so very, very much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.